Of a fun one this past weekend. Obviously, it was fun to see our players get out there and play, extremely well, and a fun environment. Autzen Stadium was unbelievable, and expecting some of the same things for our volleyball team this week as they host a big tournament. So we can open it up. Excited to go play this game Friday.
Start on the left. Eric, say more.
Obviously, having played this team once before, what are some of the lasting memories and what are some areas that you really are going to be dialed in to improve upon from the previous performance?
Yeah, we didn't didn't win the game last time, so that's the kind of thing that sticks with you. But our coach has been working extremely hard as soon as our game was over with, as far as getting prepped, and so are our players. So we've had some really good days of practice here so far. Excited for another good day tomorrow.
Front left, James.
Michael Penix hasn't quite been the same quarterback the last 6 games since you guys did play them. Is there something that you've picked up on as to why that is and what's made him less effective the last 6 games?
I think he's still won every single game, and maybe he hasn't had some of the stats that he's had earlier in the season, but he's obviously a really talented quarterback, a really good quarterback. So, it's late in the season, everybody gets a little bit banged up. I don't, but to me, he's still playing really elite football.
Front right, Zach.
Getting back to this game was obviously one of your biggest goals since playing them in October. Now that you're here, what's the energy like among the players? And do you at times have to kind of temper that energy to kind of keep them focused?
We got great energy, and I don't think it's really my job to necessarily temper the energy, but more so make sure that we maintain the focus on where it needs to be. And our guys have done a great job of that. They realize that energy doesn't win games; execution does.
All the way in the back, Matt.
How well you feel like you guys generated pressure on Penix the first time around, and just how important is that going to be?
Yeah, I think it's just as important that rush and coverage work together. We were able to get some hits on him, but at the same time, he was able to complete some passes when we were able to get hits on him. So I think it's really important that it's a combination. You want to have great rush, you want to be able to get to the quarterback, which very few people have been able to do, but also do a good job of matching routes and patterns in the back end.
Back right, Trevor.
We saw how last week you had the fourth quarter of the Oregon State game, playing in the locker room. You had those one in the trenches billboards everywhere. Will you be doing anything similar this week as a motivational tactic, or is it not needed this week?
Yeah, we always have, a plan for ways that we're going to motivate our players. But I'll say this one doesn't require a lot of extra motivation.
Front left, James.
Bo in the second half of the season has made some passes that are extremely high-level passes, and he's done it on a weekly basis. But this past week, between the touchdown to Troy at the end of the half, the pass to Tez over the defender there, what have you seen in these last 6 games from him that's allowed him to connect on more deep throws compared to the beginning of the season, complete higher, more difficult, tighter window passes the last 6 games?
Yeah, I think Bo's always had that ability. He's playing at an extremely high level, and everybody's seeing it right now. You talk about the caliber player he is. He's gotten better and better every single week of this season, right? And you can't go back to a game like, okay, well, he played, a little bit better. He's literally played consistent the entire season and been, playing at a really, really high level the entirety of the season. And he's playing as good as anybody in the nation right now. It's really apparent.
Front right, Zach.
2021, you guys lost to Alabama and then came back and beat them a couple weeks later. Do you pull any experiences from that and kind of just learning how to, play a team twice and learn how to better prepare for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you pull experience from every experience that you've had in your life, but that's certainly one that, is similar in a standpoint of, you got to play the game. And every time you go out there and play the game, there's an opportunity for it to go one way or another. And, we're certainly going to use the first game as a place to look at where could we have improved and attack a lot of those places, and then try to figure out where their strengths are, where we can, attack those as well.
Second row on the left, Eric.
Obviously, Troy and Tez have really collectively stepped up their game and have played really, really well. Specifically, how do those two maybe complement each other's skill sets and what makes them so difficult to defend?
Yeah, I think we have a really good, wide receiver room, and part of what makes them special is having a quarterback that can throw it to them, right, and find them in tight windows. But we're able to move those guys around. The position versatility that those guys play with, they play in a lot of different personnel groups and a lot of different places on the field, and that makes it hard defensively to take somebody like those guys away.
In the back, Matt.
Along those same lines, Tez's season has been incredible. I don't know if people are talking enough about it. What just has allowed him to have the second half of the season that he's had, and 70 catches, close to 1,000 yards now?
Yeah, it just goes back to the rhythm that we're building, and early on in the season we talked about we want to be playing our best ball at the end of the season, right? And I think you look at our team and you'll see a lot of guys that have consistently improved, gotten better, a scheme that's adapted and gotten better and built off of what we've done. I think we do a lot of different stuff off of previous looks that isn't necessarily the same, and he's done a great job of building off of that, taking advantage of the opportunities that come his way.
Right next to him, Nick.
During the cinematic recap, you used Mariano Rivera as a reference. When did you start to utilize other sports and other guys like that to try to, bring, say, baseball example and use it for football?
Yeah, really, since the beginning, we've always tried to find, whatever fits. There's a lot of different things that might carry the message that we're looking for, but that one certainly fit. Last week, when we were talking about having a closer mentality, why not use the greatest closer of all time?
Second row on the right, Jared.
Jordan Burch had a bunch of pressures against USC, a bunch against a really good Oregon State offensive line. I'm just kind of curious what's been clicking for him the last few weeks, or what you see on tape.
Yeah, the player that we all knew Jordan could be, and he's a powerful guy. He's explosive. He's really executing the plan, the rush plan really well right now. And I think he would be the first one to tell you that it helps having great players around him too, because it's hard to take a guy like that away when he has talented players around him and talented guys in coverage. But he's playing at a really high level. I'm really proud of the progress he's made.
Right middle, Warren.
Dan, I'd like to go back to are there perils of playing a team twice? Is there anything specific that you can key in on when you played Washington and you came up short that close margin? What are some of the things that maybe you can that make most sense in going after against a team twice?
Yeah, I really won't get into specifics as far as the game plan, but there's critical moments we didn't win, right? You look some critical downs, some critical situations that we didn't win. You didn't walk away and felt like we dominated in each phase. Each phase there was pieces we won and pieces we lost. But really it's about, attacking some of those moments. As far as what you do differently or what you do the same, I'm probably not going to hop into that because I don't necessarily want to tell anybody else what we're doing.
Front left, James.
Why is it so difficult to defend Roma Dunze and take him away from them?
Yeah, I mean, if you double him, then you're going to be short in the run game. If you don't double him, then he has a one-on-one. He has an opportunity to win. He attacks the ball in the air extremely well. He's got great speed. He kind of runs every route in the route tree, and he has a quarterback that can get it to him. So, really presents some great challenges. There's one thing that I think they've done a really good job of is building their run game. The last, since we've played him, I think that's something that's really stepped up and improved, and that only makes him even more of a dangerous target.
Second row left, Eric.
Just going to follow up and see if there's an update on Gary, and then regardless, how have you seen the depth at receiver develop maybe behind your core four guys?
Yeah, I think we have a really good group in that room and some young guys that could certainly be contributing and helping us. We just have some guys that have been playing at a really high level there with them. A couple of the benefits of this game is now that your postseason play, it no longer affects redshirt issues as well. So that could allow guys to have some more opportunities. As far as Gary's out there and getting better, I think we'll be in good shape to have him this weekend.
All the way in the back, Matt.
How well do you feel like you guys have ran the football the last second half of this season?
At times really well, and at times could have been better. I think that we weren't, we're a little more out of rhythm this past game with some of our run game, but we were obviously able to hit some, explosive shots, and that's going to happen when you have really good running backs. People are going to start to load the box against you and try to take that away. So something we have to be able to continue to work on. But when we've needed to be able to run the ball, we have been able to.
Front right, Zach.
I understand you're probably focused on other things right now, but you've got Brian Kelly making the rounds on TV telling voters why they should vote for Jaden Daniels as Heisman. Curious if you have anything to say about Bo in that case.
Well, Bo's obviously an elite player, and we're still playing football. I think that speaks to the caliber of player that Bo is. The fact that we're competing for a championship, leads the nation in passing. It's obviously, I don't memorize all of Bo's statistics, but just watch Bo play and watch how much of a difference he makes for us. But just as important of that award, what that is to Bo and our team, he's more excited about getting to play in a championship game this weekend. And I think anybody that's watched Bo Nix play, the caliber that he's played, recognizes that he's definitely deserves merit for that award.
Second row right, Jared.
I'm curious what Dante Manning has showed you guys during practice to kind of lock down that second corner spot with Jalil out and kind of move ahead of Triquez and Nico in that sense.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of corners in that room that have done a great job of competing. What was exciting to see for Dante is, some of those 50-50 balls, being able to go up and get a pick last week was huge for him. And I think you don't really get to you can do everything you want to replicate that in practice. It's hard to replicate it until it really happens in game experience. So having some of that great experience, he started making some of the plays that we certainly expect him to be able to make, and look forward to seeing him continue to grow as a player for us.
Front left, James.
Wanted to get an update on Jaleel Florence and Rod Pleasant, if they'll be able to go this week, and additionally, how the depth at corner and safety plays into how you go about deciding whether to play a third safety or a third corner when they seem to have McMillan back, though Polk is limited, but if they have all three of them, how that plays into playing Taishim as the third safety versus a third corner.
Yeah, I'm expecting us to be able to have some of those guys back. Still have to go wait and see as the week progresses. That's kind of the way it goes at this point in the season. But yeah, we'll play whoever we need to play to have success. We have plenty of DBs here that can play good football for us. Plenty of safeties, plenty of linebackers. Again, not to divulge our plan, but we'll match personnel and go out there and give it our best look.
Back right, Trevor.
On Friday, you said you haven't been around a team more connected than this one. What exactly does that mean? What do you see from your group that makes you say that?
Yeah, genuine love for each other. An excitement for when their teammate does extremely well. There isn't selfishness on this team. There aren't a lot of me guys. It's really about the team. They spend time with each other outside of the building. It's not just football, right? They watch movies at each other's house. They go out and eat together. They have real relationships. It's not just go to your dorm room and shut the door, and that's something that I certainly appreciate.
Back left, Nick.
When you get this late into the season, how far back will you go and watch film from Washington?
Yeah, all the way back, right? We'll look at film from last season. We'll look at film from previous stops for coaching staffs. We try to dig and make sure that we have all the issues addressed.
Front left, James.
Is there anything behind Camden Lewis's current struggles that's not mental, and how do you try to weigh all of that when determining whether or not to play Grant? But if the red shirt is not an issue, nevertheless, it's a huge setting to potentially be putting him out there. So how do you try to address and remedy an issue with Camden, however which way you choose to do it?
Yeah, practice. He had a game-winning field goal today in practice. Executed it really well. We continue to push every single player on our team from a positional standpoint to who can give us the best opportunity to compete and play well. He's made a lot of big kicks here. I expect him to continue to do that. And sometimes there's struggles. Kind of like golf game, kicking can be the same at times. So, but Cam's a pro. He knows what we expect from him. And like I said, today we recreate those situations in practice, and he made a big kick today in practice.
Back middle, Matt.
The portal opens up on Monday. You guys have obviously been very successful there. How do you go about preparing for it? Things are already happening right now. Just kind of what's your assessment of just what Monday will mean for this program?
We have people in our organization that always keep their eyes open for what opportunities might be out there to enhance our program, but that's certainly not my focus right now, and certainly not our coach's focus right now. We're completely focused on what's ahead of us this season to prepare our players to play as well as we can this season. Not really focused on next season. It's the same thing I've asked our players to do. There's some guys on our team probably when the portal opens will look to other opportunities that could exist. That's just the reality of college football. But I've asked them to put that on the back burner right now and focus on their team. So we have a bunch of guys committed right now that are working extremely hard out there on the practice field. Like I was extremely impressed with our look teams today and how hard they went, the effort they gave, some really tough looks. But that speaks to guys that aren't necessarily getting all the limelight and the attention on Saturdays, but they're just as critical to our success. And that's really everyone in the organization's focus right now is where we're at in this moment, not really next week, not really 2 days from now, really right now.
Front left, James.
Before the October 14th matchup, we talked about Braylon Trice and how his impact was greater than his statistics. Since then, his statistics are starting to pick up in a big way. Is that something that he's been doing differently to just create those numbers, or are they scheming him into some situations and running stunts and games and twists to kind of free him up?
Well, it's probably just exactly what I said, that the stats aren't always indicative of what a player is able to do. But he's a good player, and that's obviously showing up for him and making plays for him and doing a really good job there. It's probably a combination of both. I'm sure they're trying to get him favorable matchups out there on the field and take advantage of his skill set.
Second row right, right, Jared.
Yeah, and Jabbar Muhammad, their cornerback, has played really well the last few weeks. Had a great game against Oregon State. What do you see on tape that kind of enables him to do that?
Well, ball production. I mean, just being around the ball, and when he has opportunities around the ball, he's takes advantage of it. So he's a guy that is a really heady player. He has what I'd call football IQ. You can see that he's natural awareness of where the ball's at, where he's being attacked, and makes it very challenging for the opponent.
That's all we have, Coach. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you.